Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback for this Sunday night. I am Gav. With me, I have Kev, I have Seany, and I have Keith, as always. Liverpool 4, Shrewsbury Town 1 in the third round of the FA Cup at Anfield today. Liverpool go on into the fourth round where they've drawn Cardiff, and we'll talk about that in a little while. Tonight we're going to talk about just our initial reactions on the game itself. We're going to have a look at the lineup, the youngsters that played, the goals that were scored. Trent has tested positive, I think, for a second time for COVID. Klopp has made some comments with regards to what happened during the week and what's to look forward to this week. And like I said, Cardiff in the next round, Arsenal on Thursday in the first leg of the semi-final of the League Cup. And we're going to talk about what shows we have this week coming and stuff like that. Seany, did you sit down with a few cans and watch the game today? Like, just sitting there going, this is grand. You know,
tell you what, Gav, I'm like playing William Wallace in the gaff after that intro. It's like the start of the Game of Thrones or something.
It is, yeah.
And you know what? I was panicking, Jordan, because top of this can of Heineken didn't want to open, and I was like, I'll cancel this fucking show if this can doesn't open. Do you know what I mean?
Run it again.
Get the tin opener,
But I was going to start fucking taking it apart with a box cutter or something. But Seany, when it comes to the third round, you know, you get a home draw, Shrewsbury Town, and it's one of those where, for me, I kind of sit back and I enjoy them regardless of the result, because you know you're going to see some fringe players, some youngsters. But when you're going into this kind of, yeah, this is great, no bother, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, look, I'm in a bit of a weird place with football at the moment, Gav, with all the stuff going on. You don't know what games going ahead and not going ahead, but it was around 12 o'clock when that rumoured lineup started going around, and I started getting a bit giddy about this game, because I normally can do, because I like the Carabao Cup and I like the FA Cup. I know the romanticism with them is sort of dead. Obviously, they aren't what they used to be, but when you see the likes of a Musialowski or a Kaide Gordon and Dixon Bonner in the lineup, you always catches your eye, and you always go, do you know what, I'm going to watch that with a keen eye. Now, obviously, the actual lineup was a bit different to the one that was going around, but look, I think it's about time we had a third round FA Cup game at home against a lower league opposition side, because whenever them draws I'm on, I just say to myself, right, that's a Premier League side away, and yeah, it's a Premier League side away until the fifth round, where Klopp just says, you know what, fuck this,
can't be bothered with this crap,
and just throws out a mishmash. But yeah, you know, I was quite looking forward to it, because we didn't know what we were going to get even today. We didn't even know whether Klopp was going to be on the bench this time yesterday. We didn't know what authority was going to be. Kravitz's done the pre-match. So it's a weird time, Gav, for me as a football fan. It's just, there's nothing certain. Nothing is certain. So
is that what it is, Seany? Like, we're approaching Thursday and we're like, will this go ahead? Will it not? Will something happen on Tuesday? Is it that?
I'm easily thinking like it'll be as easy now for Arsenal to turn around on Tuesday and say we had the close training ground, and then Thursday's off again. Yeah. Like, because the Carabao Cup final was played in April last year, so they'll have no bother pushing it out. Like, so, like, for me, it's hard to get really excited about anything. Obviously, the results over the Christmas didn't help, but there's no certainty. Like, we might play on Thursday, we might not. Like, the game against Brentford might go ahead and might not. Like, it's just like, it's mad. It's weird.
It is. I think you've hit on something there. It's a case of you're coming around to games and you're like, this mightn't fucking happen. And not just from a podcast point of view, because like I'd be going, here, we fucking 3 shows lined up around this, and then it's called off, and you're like, what the fuck are we meant to do? We end up doing quizzes and drinking, which is the crack, by the way. People are literally calling us to do a quiz weekly. Stop talking about football and just do quizzes for the crack. But it is, I think you've touched on something there where it is like that. And Keith, like, Seany's right when he's saying you're kind of nearly living day to day wondering if a game is going ahead. But when we know this is going ahead, and then Klopp will be there, and you see the lineup, and it's a good mixture of you know, fringe players, experience, and then real youth. Is that something that got you going for this? Because I don't know if I'd have watched it with that much interest if we'd have stuck out a stronger side.
Yeah, look, similar to what Shawnee said, I look forward to a home game against lower league opposition because you can get to see the young lads playing. And the rumoured lineup, we had Cardiff and goal and a lot of the rumoured stuff, and I was actually a bit gutted that we didn't get to see Cardiff back in action. But you see these young players coming through, and we do have some good young players. Do you know what I mean? We have some players coming through that you're excited to see. You have Kaide Gordon. Kaide Gordon looks a very good talent. We all know that Musialowski was, rumoured to be getting a sniff, didn't. But, you enjoy looking at these lads. And today was another chance to see the likes of Tyler Morton, to see Connor Bradley. And yeah, I always look forward to seeing them. It dictated, the COVID dictated, we wouldn't have seen, I would imagine we wouldn't have seen Van Dijk, Robertson, Kanate in a back four for this fixture if we didn't have had a situation with COVID. We bring in Waltman into the front three, is very inexperienced. The midfield, then Dixon Bonner is brought out of the cold storage, and it maybe impacts on the decisions of who we can play. But I was delighted to see. I always like to see them. As Shawnee said, you used to getting Chelsea or Everton or fucking someone like that. You know what I mean? Never even an easy one. Always a needly game. And to get the no disrespect to Shrewsbury, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's loads of teams out there that I would have been happy to get, but we don't usually get them. And I was delighted looking at the team lineup. And excited to see, especially Kaide Gordon, to see how he'd got on.
Yeah, and I don't think any of them, like, I felt sorry for, what was the lad's name up front?
Max Walton.
Waltman, yeah.
I felt sorry for him because it just didn't suit at all, but it won't do him any harm. Kev, we done a show after the game, and we discussed some of these players. And sorry, just on that show, I'd like to apologise if anybody caught at the end of that show my 2-year-old son barge into the room, noticed that the Christmas tree is being taken down, and just went rasher. So I'd like to apologise for that. My wife was trying to calm him down, and my daughter was trying to get both of them out of the room because she knew I was on a show. So if you're listening back on it, you'll definitely hear that. I left it in at the end and everything, just so people would understand what was going on. But Kev, the lads are talking there about the youngsters, and they're talking about, who they're excited to see. Even now, if you think back to before the game, who are you really looking forward to see? Because I think most would say Kaide Gordon, but there was a couple in there where you go, oh, this is a little bit of a step up despite it being Shrewsbury.
Yeah, look, I was looking forward to see Curtis Jones starting the game. It's been a long time since he's played. Tyler Morton needed the game. I said after the show this afternoon, he's one that his last couple of performances he was being questioned. I mean, he was probably overblown with his first few appearances that he came in. He did really, really well. And his last few appearances, the Spurs one especially, he got a fair bit of a clattering for it, which he deserved for the tackle. Let's not kid ourselves. But he needed to get that kind of a performance in today where people are talking about him again for the right reasons. And I like the lads. I love watching, seeing the lineup come up. I was like, yeah, that's, the players who need minutes got minutes. And I was worried for Waltman, to be fair. I was, because I thought you're playing against the back five of big, strong League One centre backs who know their trade. He's not going to get a sniff, and it proved to be. He didn't get anything. He didn't get anything out of the game, but he'll learn from that. But yeah, no, I was happy enough. I don't know what the story is with Allison, because he tested positive at the same time as everyone else, and he wasn't there at all today. So I don't know what the story is there.
Well, I think if you're going to play Kelleher, I don't see a point of putting Allison near.
No, but there was no talk about him either. So
no. Well,
I just don't know what the story is with it.
I just take no news as
good news.
News.
If there was something to be talked about, I suppose they'd have been talking about it. But in general, I was happy enough with the lineup. I wanted to see Kaide Gordon, and to be fair, his partner in crime down the right hand side at right back is the two of them have a good link up from the under-19s, from the Euros right through to the under-23s, and you could tell they play together a fair bit. And with the overlapping runs and stuff like that, their link-up play was pretty good. all in all, I thought happy days. I was happy enough with it because that was a massive banana skin today. It really was.
It was.
That could have got tits up big time.
Yeah, and when you see what's going on during the week, and then what we've to put out there, and there's a lot of young players playing there. Now we did have some experience, but you know yourself, like anything can happen. Archie Dillon said he was in stitches when he seen my face when the family walked into the room, the quickest over now ever. It was just funny because the uncle was going mad. My wife just realised what was going on, and my daughter was trying to boot both of them out of the room. So I didn't know what was. There was a lot of mixed emotions in the room. Gar Max says, "Does anyone see the lad from Burkina Faso trying to literally kick the bollocks off a Cameroon player earlier?"
Yeah,
is that what you're laughing at, Shawnee? Now I've said that right because I seen Shawnee laughing.
I'm sorry, Kev. I laughed the minute when.
Yeah,
you
no, you're great. I saw the comment as well.
I actually.
I want to leave it to later. Because
can we talk about it later?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the AFCON as a tournament later?
Yeah.
I actually.
I love it.
It might be the best football tournament in the world.
I actually love it.
Football is involved.
It's football in its purest form, and we'll obviously get onto it later. But it's absolutely.
Johnny had a lovely time today. And he sent us an Instagram post. He went, "Look at this. It was a goal from earlier, which you get into." And then he noticed something else with it was in Ethiopia. We're playing today against Cape Verde. And he completely lost his head earlier on at about 5:30. But we'll definitely get onto the AFCON later on. But, Shawnee, I'll go to you because, you know, Liverpool come out, they have a lot of possession, a lot of territory. There's not a lot of incisive stuff going on, and I understand that. Robertson was trying very hard to get high up on the right. You know, I think Bradley was trying to hold back a little bit to give Kaide Gordon a chance to try to get at a full-back or one of those centre-halves. And Jones was up front, and it wasn't working. The lad in the middle was small. You couldn't whip balls in the box, but they take the lead, Shawnee. And we get a warning a couple of minutes beforehand with a great cross that no one gets onto. But they take the lead with another cross on the left, and the guy is in there, scores, does well. Keeper has no chance. Were you worried at all, Shawnee, or were you like, this is just a nice moment for them?
No, like, do you know what? In fairness to them, like, the game was just kind of pondering. There was nothing happening, and you could see Shrewsbury kind of got a bit of a jolt, and they just started playing down Bradley's side. And it's a good goal. It's a good goal. Like, you know, there's no real, like, it's just a lack of experience from probably Kanate and Bradley, where you think, well, maybe they should be getting out there. But he takes the goal well. And look, we've been to Anfield, and when goals go in like that, you can hear the crowd moaning and groaning and all. But today it was just kind of like, all right, we'll be all right. But one thing like that is kind of overlooked today is, like, they had two centre halves. I'd say they had a combined height of about 18 foot. Like, two of the biggest fellas you ever seen. And their front three, they're all about 6 down ring and red and 5 foot odd, like, you know what I mean? So it was a massive task for the lads. And as Kev said there about Martin needing the minutes, he would have learned more today in that game than he would have in any other game he would have played, because you see in these FA Cup ties, I mean, you often see teams getting dragged down to another team's level, but the physical side probably wouldn't have stood out that much to Martin playing against Porto and AC Milan in Champions League, because it's a lot more technical and the game is moving very fast and it's not really about physicality. Spurs probably more so, but today would have been about 2 or 3 fellas in their midfield thinking, look at this young fella, I'm going to smash him first chance. And that's when these kids are really tested, you know what I mean? Yeah. This is where they're really up against it, because they're playing against, like... Lower league football is no joke. They're playing 3 games a week, and they're well up for it, you know what I mean? It's always all to play for in that lower league. It's sort of like, if you win a few games, you're in with a shout of promotion, and if you lose a few games, you can drop down. So it was big for them to be in there today, and I think they would have learned a lot. And to me, that's what impressed me most about today's performance. But even with the mismatch when they went 1-0, I was thinking, wait, look, we'll do something here. Even though we hadn't got any of the big guns on the bench, you felt we're at home here. Maybe if we were away, it might have been a different story. We'll find a way, and that just proved to be the case.
Just one thing on Martin. You're right, there was a physical battle in there, and they were getting stuck in, and they were getting around Liverpool as much as they could. I thought Fabinho was excellent in shutting them down at times and playing the right pass and intercepting and stuff. But Martin in this he has, like, he's involved in a good couple of challenges in the first half, but second half, it's near the end. and he gets the ball middle of the park and he just nutmegs a fella, right?
Yeah.
Nutmegs a fella, goes by another fella, knocks it out wide. But the thing is, a Shrewsbury fella comes in, as he passes, Shrewsbury fella comes in, try and leave something on him with a shoulder, just try give him a little belt. And Martin just bounces off him and literally puts his hand out as if to go, get the fuck away from me. And that's what you want from a player, don't you? Like, all right, he does a nice bit of work, but he's able to go, if you want to lean on me here, lean on me. But the ball is gone and I'm not going to be knocked over, the sort of way. Whereas if he gets hit and goes down, the Shrewsbury fella probably comes out looking the better out of both players. But Martin wasn't having a bar of it, and I thought he was quite good. Keith, they're 1-0 up, but we make a 1-1, a goal from Kaide Gordon, and it's the goal of the game. I was saying to Keith or Kev on the show earlier, when I've seen him play for Liverpool, and I think it might have been a pre-season friendly, because I can't think of him playing. It's definitely at Anfield he plays when I seen him, and it's definitely not a League Cup, because we haven't been at home in the League Cup bar Leicester, and he doesn't play in that. And I just thought of him as a speed merchant, Keith. He looked to get into spaces and be really quick and really direct. But I noticed about him today, footwork really good, holding the ball, held off defenders, looked inside, looked to his fullback, looked to get balls into the box. There was loads about him today that you could see him, like I said to Kev earlier, being moulded into a Liverpool type wide player. A little bit of Harvey Elliott about him, I think, the way he just holds onto the ball and stuff like that. But it's a cracking finish, isn't it? Like the touch, the delay, the finish. It's a really top quality goal from him.
Yeah, it was a great goal. And the comparison with Elliott is good. They're players that they play similar positions, or Elliott would have come through in that similar position on the right-hand side of the front three, cutting in on the left foot. But Gordon has looked in the games. I think he played in the League Cup against
Played 90
Norwich.
against Norwich.
Yeah, he played
Away.
against them.
I remember seeing him against at Anfield. I just thinking he was speed merchant. It had to be a pre-season friendly.
It would have been probably us that we played the two Spanish teams.
Yes, that's what it was. It was one of those sides, yeah. One of the Spanish sides.
Yeah, but no, it's he's an exciting player. He's a talent. He's only 17 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like he's 19. When you look at the ability that he has, because funny, I thought Bradley does well on the goal. Bradley gets the ball in, great delivery. Gordon takes it, and my son was sitting watching it, and he put his hand up like that as soon as Gordon touched it, as if to celebrate the goal. Says, "What are you doing, goal?" And he pinged it in. He was only fucking 7. He's not Nostradamus or anything. He didn't know what was coming.
Live score on his phone.
Yeah, that's it. He's looking at it. But he thought as soon as he touched it, I thought he was going to score. Do you know what I mean? And it was just a great touch to get it out. And he just slots it in with his left foot. A great goal. And, something Seany was saying there, or you asked Seany, was he worried? I wasn't worried, because I felt we had too much quality on the pitch, and I felt we had too much quality in defence to let Shrewsbury really get any more. I think, they got their goal, they had their 5 minutes of pressure or so, and I felt we had enough there. But I thought we had players on the bench that could come in and impact it if we needed it. So to get that goal early, well, relatively quickly after they scored, I thought it was good, and I think it took the wind out of their sails a bit. And I thought it was a great finish. I think he's a very special player, Kaide Gordon, and I'd like to see him. Look, we'd all like to see the 4 and 5-0 up in the game and in the league and bringing these lads on for 10 minutes at the end, but he certainly is one that I would like to see more involved around the first team. But as I said, 17 years old, very young, to be getting too much heaped onto him may not be most beneficial. But he was playing first team for Derby when we signed him, wasn't he? So it's not like he's playing championship football at 16 years old. The Unfla, it's very same as Harvey Elliott. The Unfla must have something about him to do that.
I was just about to ask this question, and John was just throwing it in there. Gordon is the LFC's youngest ever goal scorer in FA Cup history. I was wondering how close he was to...
Who was it? Jerome Sinclair, was it?
Woodbourne,
he's the second youngest overall behind Woodbourne.
Yeah. And
Woodbourne gets one against Leeds in the Cardiff Cup.
Yeah, Woodbourne broke Michael Owen's record, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's second overall and the youngest in FA Cup history, which is nice for him to have.
I've got a quiz count here. I'm in form here, I feel.
Yeah, you seem to be lashing them off there, don't you? The quiz the other night, Kev ramped the quiz the other night. Did you see it, Connie?
Yeah, we just don't want to talk about it.
Kev Romte. The boys are going mad. But Kev, we spoke on the post match show about him, and somebody says there, I think it was Gar Mack said, his finish can't be learned. It's just natural to him.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Because the touch and that delay, you don't teach someone that. That's just something that you just know where you are and you know what you want to do. Does it come natural to him, or do you think it can be learned? I think it's natural.
Time will tell. I mean, the composure he had in the box to take a touch and shift it onto to where he wanted to take the shot. That shows maturity and confidence. And truth is, we don't know. We haven't seen enough of this kid yet. Time will tell. Hopefully in 2 or 3 years' time, this kid is going to save us 100 million quid. And that's the hope. But that's all it is hope at the minute. We've been here before with young players, and I hope he does well. I don't know if he could benefit from a loan, because it's one of those things that game time could really help him. I don't think he's going to I don't think he's going to learn what he needs to learn playing under 23s. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He needs to be playing grown-up football next season, and you won't get that at Anfield in enough regularity.
So you see another Harvey Ellis situation?
I see him 6 months, maybe see how he goes with us up until next January, and then maybe the second half of the season, pick a club for him that's playing good football, that's challenging for something, that is, he's going to be playing meaningful games, and a club willing to take a risk on him.
He should be paying rent and Mo Salah's gaff and eating the same food he does, because he needs.
He does need fattening up. He does need fattening up. He needs a membership at Mo's gym.
And like you said, like we've seen so many players come through, like Ojo, Oyeb, who, like you said, Gav, like pace merchants,
all these kids.
like pace merchants who hit the boiler and now real end product. Like what he done today, like bad players can't do that. Bad players can't do that. Can't buy a yard without really moving. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what he does. And he just passes in the net. And the little of him I've seen, because there's a lot of goal machines in the under 23s and under 18s side. Yeah, man. Oakley Cannoneer is banging in goals there as well. You've
I want him to play for
Gordon,
Liverpool just for the name.
and you've Musialowski. Like, so you just they seem to be. I'd say that the recruitment of the club are looking at going, if one of these hit, they're going to save us a fortune, because literally, like Kev said, down the line he might, and I agree with Kev that he will need a loan, because they've got to be playing football. Like today would have been good for them. They need to be down in the Championship getting belted around every week, because it's just, unless you're a Rashford who got in by chance at United, and Greenwood who was just really good at United, not in the best moment, like, you've got to be playing every other week, otherwise you won't develop. And I think just with a little bit of TLC, he should probably hang around, and he will bulk up because he's a kid, like, you know what I mean? He's still grown. He's not even as tall as he's going to be. But what you're seeing today, like, that's not like some young fella cutting in and just bending one in, which can be done. It's a clever touch, the little shimmy to buy a yard, and then the coolness to just pass it in the net. So, and I agree, Gav, he was brilliant against Norwich as well, and in the Osasuna game when I'd seen him, he's so unlucky not to score. So, look, it's great to see these players coming through, and long may it continue. And that he'll be Cardiff at home, who are dwindling a little bit at the end of the Championship. I'd throw him in again. That's the God honest truth. I'd give this. I'd absolutely give this kid minutes whenever you can.
I think the position he plays in, like you're mentioning there, Greenwood, and you're mentioning Rashford, both came through at United as forwards. You know what I mean? Like, looking for goals. Rashford in particular was just a goal getter. I think Van Gaal gives him his debut because they're short on strikers, and he plays against, I think it's Arsenal. Might be a cup game against Arsenal, or
he played the Europa League game and then comes on against Arsenal.
Yeah, I think he scores once or twice.
Again, going by the quiz, and I would have mopped up tonight. His debut was the day we lose the Carling Cup final to City, because the game before the game that day was Arsenal United at home, and he scores 2 on his debut. So, look,
but what you're looking from Kaide Gordon is not, you know, if Kaide Gordon is a striker down the middle and he's using his pace all the time, you go, yeah, you might need to nurture him here. But what you're looking at him, where you're looking at him with that pace, and not only that, you can see more being added to his game all the time. His passing, his vision, everything is being added to. Definitely since that pre-season. Yeah, probably keep him where he is on this season and just see where the FA Cup goes, I suppose. But I agree with you, and I think, Keith, you might agree as well, that it's, you look for next season and you say, right, get us a mid to higher end championship side.
Tell you, Blackburn's the one to send them to. Yeah. Tony Mowbray will look after him. I know Leighton Clarkson has struggled there, but
Mowbray had really positive things to say about him, though.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to read this out because Ian Barron asked me to. He said, "Hi guys, I'm a Darlington FC fan, and we were made bankrupt in 2011, reformed in 2012, demoted 4 leagues. We are currently a fan-owned National League club, and National League North club. We have had 3 promotions to date, so they're trying to get back into the league. Darlington, fair play, and I think Bury are the same as well, aren't they?
Bury are on the
verge of coming back as well.
This sounds like a man on football." Potential adopt a graph, to be honest.
Oh, that's what we could do. Could we do a deep dive into Darlington?
We could do.
Yeah, we could.
If we're doing a deep dive into Darlington, I think I'll be washing my hair that night.
Will you? Oh yeah, you won't win that quiz. But no, I said I'd read that out, so there you go, Ian. But Keith, you on the same wavelength with the likes of Kaide Gordon, especially Kaide Gordon.
Yeah, I think this season keep him where he is, and next season's put him out on loan. And you have to be sensible with your loan. You have to be strategic, and you have to be to the right club. You know, you see too many players, and I don't just mean Liverpool or any club, they go on loan. The likes of Ryan Brewster, you know, he does well at Swansea, comes back, doesn't get his chance. But then you have Elliott who goes away, tears her up in the Championship, and gets the chance. It's all about getting the opportunity. And something Shawnee said there, you know, talking about Rashford and Greenwood and Harry Kane to an extent as well. These get chances because their teams play Europa League. And the Europa League is a great breeding ground for these players because it gives them a chance against continental teams that are, well, you can play League One teams in the cups and all that, and you're getting a chance against tactical, technical players as well. It's great for players' development. I remember Harry Kane get breaks through at Spurs because I think their only forward at the time was Soldado, and he was fucking pony. Do you know what I mean? And Kane gets his chance. Rashford goes in at United, went there on the dip, and then not the team they were, and he's allowed that opportunity. Greenwood's allowed that opportunity, and you know, these players, it's so hard to get the chance when your team is where Liverpool are at the moment or where Man City are. I know Man City have the luxury of just dropping in a player like Cole Palmer will probably start getting games for them here and there. But it's not easy to just drop a player in when draws are seen as defeats. You know, you can't nurture the players like that anymore. So I think, this season, we're still in 2 cups. There's opportunities, Well, 3, the big one, forgot about that. The opportunity there to give them games, you know, as Shawnee touched on, Cardiff away or Cardiff at home in the next round. It's another opportunity, you know, and you never know after that. You could get another nice draw, and that's when you can give these lads a chance. But next season, good loan has to be. And for
an argument to send them to Scotland.
No. I wouldn't. No, it's not
what I mean is, if you find a team in Scotland that are in European football,
Celtic or Rangers.
Well, I don't know. You see, the Celtic and Rangers thing, I don't know if both of them get into the Champions League later qualifying. There's 2. Both of them might qualify for the Champions League this season because of the coefficient. But I'm just thinking, would there be an argument to try them up there with a club that would be in European football?
I'd actually be more inclined to send them to Germany or something. Honestly,
just something that you might get.
You
might get
a
group stages of Europa League into them. That's just a thought, but you're probably
Conference,
right.
Maybe.
I would look at somewhere like Belgium, the Belgian league, the Dutch league, even. They're always in or around the European competitions as well. If you get someone going to an Anderlecht or somewhere like that, Vincent Kompany's still there. I'm sure there is an awful lot of English players playing in Belgium at the minute,
and Netherlands as well,
and the Netherlands, but mainly a lot in Belgium, to be fair. And it's not too far, but it's far enough away that he can do it quietly. It's not in the
Need
glare
him
of the
to be
media.
playing. That's the thing. He needs to go somewhere that
He
he's
needs
going
to
to
be
play.
playing. Yeah.
So if it's a team if it's a Belgian, sorry for cutting across you, Kev.
Yeah, no,
If it's a Belgian or a Dutch team that are sort of challenging in Europe, there's a risk that 17, 18-year-old kid may not have a chance.
The thing is with Liverpool, when they send any player on loan, there's an agreement put in place that they have to play X amount of games. And if they don't, the other club have to pay some money to us.
But not to be like, what will be the story now with sending them out of Europe with Brexit? Because that could actually hamper something like that.
Yeah, it could do. It could do. I think the
Could
most
do,
likely,
actually, 'cause he's
I think
under
between
18.
us all, I think we agree the most likely is we'd like to see something maybe different, but the most likely thing is top end championship. But I want top end championship. I don't want someone.
Yeah, I think look, if the recruitment team have done that well over the last couple of years, it's definitely loaning players, because you look at Bruce at the Swansea then, and then you were able to sell him off the back of his loans because he obviously felt he wasn't. But for whatever reason, they sold him, and then you've Harvey Elliott who tore up Blackburn. So you have to
Berg as well.
The right
doing well at
You know what the thing is?
Well,
Kaide Gordon could wait. Kaide Gordon could show up in bleeding Evian next summer, wherever we do the pre-season tour, and be probably 8 or 9 kgs heavier on muscle and ready to go.
Yeah,
and that's the way Klopp
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. That's...
he might just, you never know. Like, he might have one of those growth, because that can happen. Players go. Like, I seen that lad Musiala off Bayern Munich. I don't know what they're feeding him, but he's went away. He's on the fucking Leon Goretzka.
He's down in Keith's Maz having fucking potatoes and cabbage every day, I'd say.
So you never know. Like, it's just, it's mental. Like, you know, I definitely do feel like he has got the, because like you're seeing stuff from him you didn't even see from Raheem Sterling at the same. Sterling used to infuriate me. He used to ghost players, and then he get in front of goal and he go to bits. And he still does. He still does that now as a 26, 27-year-old. So the future's
what about this? What about this next season? Right now, there's no European football involved in this. But what about Toulouse? Because
with the Red
Bird have bought them. They invested in us. They're currently in League 2, but they're near the top. You know, if they were to get into League 1, would it be worth sending them to League 1, or that's a bit of a shit league? But it's a tough league. It's a physical league.
There is quality in that league, and there's a lot of young players in that league as well, trying to make a name for themselves. Every player in that league is looking for that big move, so it wouldn't be beyond the pale to do something like that, especially with a side that we have links with.
Yeah,
you know. So
the thing is, I think style of play, though, doesn't it? You know,
but I think it's important
to play football.
Yeah, it's
important.
Tell
you what, Forest wouldn't be about after watching a bit of Forest earlier.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a bad.
Forest are on a huge fucking upsurge.
Because we got to get a really good manager. He's a top manager.
Yeah,
Cooper.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, and he trusts young players. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you need.
From. They were bottom 3, I think, when he took over, and I think I think they won something like 9 of their first 11 games under him or something. It was mad. They're flying now. Are they in the playoff places or just off them at the moment?
They're about 3 points outside, but that's nothing in the championship. That can be made up in a.
That's made up in a half an hour. You know what I mean? You could actually go on. You could literally be 3 points behind someone on a Monday in the championship. Wake up on Tuesday without playing, and you're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's fucking mad that league is. And they play every 2 days. There's 46 games, which is just fucking insane. And like, you're never stuck for watching football when the championship is going, because they're on every day. The bleed week is mad. Steve Cooper, ex-Liverpool Academy, his own book. Doing a great job, doing an absolute great. And they have some backing behind them as well, don't they? Do you remember they brought in a couple of lads from Portugal? And there was huge hype over them, players.
Well, they're a massive club.
They are. Forest, I'd love to see Forest back in the Premier League.
Big club.
I'd love to see Forest back in the Premier League, just because they have that stand behind the goal that's kind of a weird shape, and when the camera comes over the top, you go, Jesus, they're doing well to get that in and not fall into the River Trent, which is fair play to them. Kev, I'll come to you. We were talking about it earlier, but we talk about it again. What in the name of fuck is that Shrewsbury defender doing? Jumping up in the air and swinging his arms around like he's falling down a mine shaft or something. What the fuck is he doing?
I think that's something that he's just done throughout his career, because he's got away with it at lower league level. Either referees don't spot it, there's no VAR, and there's no.
Is he looking for fouls?
I think it's a bit of both. It's making himself as big as possible to try to make, even if the ball comes off his hand, it's a deflection. I couldn't get out of the way. He shoved me. It was whatever excuse he wants to come up with. But he did it more than once, which means to me that's just normal for him. He does it. He's done it before, and when he done it earlier in the game, they spotted in the commentary straight away. I mean, the commentators today were, oh god,
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
They were was it Effin Nkoku? I
It's
think
like being on a sedative. It was.
painful. But when he did it the second time, the ref spotted it straight away. There was no. Once you saw it in the replay, it was like, oh my god, you didn't
Well,
learn.
2 minutes from half time,
Couldn't have come
and
at
I'm
us.
not saying that it would have been huge to get a half time.
It would have been for them.
It would have been for them. I don't
massive.
think it would have made a difference,
massive for
but
them.
it would have brought them in a half time going, it's 1-1. Keep going. But I think that burst that bubble. I think it did. And Keith,
and Fabinho slotted it brilliantly as well.
he did. And Keith, I said it to Kev earlier as well. When the penalty was given, I seen Fabinho stood up. I genuinely forgot he could take penalties, right? So Fabinho standing there with the ball and going, Fabinho? And then I looked and I went, no, he's taking loads of penalties. He's grand.
He was Monaco's
Make him the penalty
taker,
taker from now on, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's something calm and calculated, unlike Mo. Do you know what I mean? I don't care. Mo,
He's definitely
never,
waiting for that moving from the keeper before he wins
Yeah.
whatever side.
Left footers and penalties, just never.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't care. It just makes me uncomfortable. I squirm.
I'm left-footed, right, when I played ball, and I never scored a penalty. And I scored a corner, I scored direct from a corner, and missed a penalty in the next game in a shootout and knocked my team out. So I'm bleeding, and yeah, I agree, left-footers can't hit them. But he took a lot of penalties at Monaco. He was their penalty taker. Do you know what I mean? In that good Monaco team. So he's a really, really dependable player to get in there. And when you see him slotting it like that, you just remember that, when Mo comes up and takes a penalty, he takes the run, it's an unorthodox run, and when he gets to it, it's blasted. And look, his record has been good until he missed there recently, but I'll never be confident with Mo taking it. And Oscar Wolf says Fabinho missed pens for Liverpool. He did miss penalties for Liverpool, but he had a great record. There's Jono saying his record 17 from 18 on Monaco. Like, he's a good penalty taker. This fella is good. It's like I like Milner as well. There's a calmness.
Mo's missed one against AC Milan, one against Leicester, and one against, was it Huddersfield or something? He missed a penalty.
Right in a way, wasn't it?
No, he misses. I think Huddersfield is
I
in my
think
head.
it
But
could
anyway,
be
he's missed 3
Huddersfield,
penalties, Liverpool. I think he's taken 22 or 23, right? But do you know what it is with Salah? It's the left-footedness and it's the long run-up. It's the perfect combination of what the fuck is going on here. When
And
you
it's
see a
the
fella taking a
combination,
run-up from the halfway line nearly, you're going, look, stop it. Whereas Fabinho stand there, 4 steps, bang, doesn't mess
Do you
about.
remember Pepe Signori's penalties?
Yes, they were brilliant. I loved them.
One step, boom.
Yeah, the
You ever
thing
see
is
them,
with Mo,
Shawnee, before your time probably? He used to just stand with the ball at his feet
Signori.
and just bang, hit it in.
What a penalty
What a
taker.
penalty taker.
yeah, the thing is with Mo, when Mo hits it, he gives the keeper a chance. Because if the keeper gets anything on it, it'll be enough. With the power that he's got on it, it'll be enough to deflect it.
He
And
took the worst pen I've ever scored in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
I don't forgive him
God,
for it. Still.
Yeah,
He's
but
lucky
that's
it went in.
because that sap was in goal.
Lord,
That's
there
just
but yeah, that's the only thing that makes me nervous about Mo is he hits it so bloody hard that if the keeper gets a foot on it or anything, it could deflect over, it could go wide, it could go anywhere. And
Salah is 24 from 29. He hasn't missed 5 for Liverpool, has he?
Probably
Probably
overall.
Well, in fairness, he literally took the biggest penalty in the history of his country's
Yeah.
football. So, like, you give him the benefit of the doubt, you know what I mean? The fella
Yeah.
had the history of his whole country on his shoulders, so
I don't
he
think
does
feels
have the
pressure.
onions to do it. Yeah, he has the
yeah,
stones to do
definitely,
it.
yeah. It's not a bad look. If we end up in a penalty shootout, I reckon we're in good nick.
James
Yeah.
says Salah takes a 2-week run up and then just twats it. You know, and that's the truth. But and someone says there the fact that he's Sam says the fact Salah is unpredictable does make it harder for keepers to read them.
Yeah,
That's why
that's
his record's
true.
good, because in fairness to him, he does put them left, right, high,
Middle,
low. He goes
yeah.
everywhere. I love the one where he runs up and just opens his foot up and puts in the top bin, and you're not saving them. I don't give a fuck who you are. And people say always go lower penalties. I'm sorry, you put the pen on the top corner. There's no saving.
Low and hard into the corner, all right, but you take some bleeding cojones to go for the top in on a penalty. Do you know what I mean?
Why?
What was the Watford keeper's name? Ben
Foster.
What's his
Ben
Ben
Foster.
Foster? Because he had his podcast, didn't he? And apparently
Yeah.
Salah went up to him and asked
After
him
the game.
after the game, which way were you going to go if I'd have got a pen? And it's like, if that's the level of detail he's going to talk to these keepers to see what their mentality is like.
Yeah.
You know, he's
one
looking for
against
every
Leicester, he
edge possible, I
mishits.
suppose.
The one against Leicester, I think he mishits. I don't think he intends to put it there.
Yeah, because that's perfect.
Yeah, I think he's looking. He just doesn't hear it right. You know, in fairness, the one Salah has missed, you kind of go, the keeper's made a good save, but I've yet to see one where you've gone. He's gone right in the corner there, and your man's got to it. So, I don't know how the fuck we've gone to penalties. Oh yeah, Fabinho scored one. I don't know how we got that detailed into it. But I'm happy enough with Fabinho. Well, I'm way more confident over Fabinho over Salah and definitely Firmino taking a penalty. Do you remember Mane fancied himself as a penalty taker? And then he got one in a European Cup game. I think it was a qualifier and missed one. You were like, right, that's the end of that side. You go, fuck off.
Game over.
I don't give a fuck if you scored 2 in America in pre-season. Get away me. He wasn't that near it again.
But we deal with penalty takers even, and so I know we're going to move off this, but like the recent penalty shootouts, you've got Naby done the blade and top in. He's
like Naby's, yeah.
Ox is
Bobby's very good as well.
Bobby is good on penalties. Like, you do have some good spot kicks, spot kick merchants.
Yeah, but look, it made it 2-1. Goes in at half time. Happy days. Seany, I'll come to you because I felt the second half was literally to me like a training session that was winding down. That's what it felt like to me, and I think it was designed like that. I think, you know, the likes of Van Dijk, Kanate, they've all, you know, they haven't played football because of whatever's gone on, and you've seen players that were out with COVID and come back and stuff like that. But Seany, it definitely looked like to me like just control the second half. You don't have to go mad, just control it, get the minutes in your legs, and it was definitely a look towards Arsenal on Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah, they seem to just go into cruise control. Although the third goal doesn't come until late, they kind of just kept control of the game without them giving us any real hassle. I think Kelleher has a heart in the mouth moment, which is unlike him.
Yeah.
I think. But other than that, it was kind of just plain sailing. It was what you'd expect against a lower league side at Anfield, even with the mismatch of the young lads in there. But yeah, that's what it was. And like, if you want to go into a deep dive into penalties, like you can go into a deep dive now into the mental goals. Bobby Firmino scored and goals and assists that he does these mad things. Like, but yeah. And he got a boot for his troubles because he was acting the bollocks.
Yeah, Kev said it. Kev said he got a right boot earlier. He goes, Gabby deserved it because he was acting the bollocks.
Yeah, he was. That's exactly what he was doing. Like, and if you don't know what acting the bollocks means, you're not from this parish.
Yeah.
He was taking the
He was taking liberties.
But he looked very sharp when he come on, Bobby, and he's gonna be so key.
I'd say he's buzzing for a shot.
3 weeks. Yeah, but look, I don't think Bobby's not a player I'd ever associate throwing a strop or not giving 100%. You know, even when it's not going, he's not the type of player that if it's not happening for him, he doesn't go out games. He still bursts his bollocks and puts himself about. You know what I mean? But when Bobby's hot, he's hot. You know, like and you realise, like, I remember 1920 when we won the league. It was basically, how's Bobby playing? Yeah, he's playing well. Yeah, well then we'll win because when he played well, everybody played well, you know. So, it was great to see him coming on, and it's just the bit of ingenuity, genius that you'd associate with me, the celebration and all laughing and taking the piss. But yeah, and I'm delighted he got a boot as well, because to be honest with you, I would have fucking booted him as well if I hadn't been playing against him.
Absolutely.
But you know what, Gav, before we do move on there, you know, and not to dig out Max Waltman, but even bringing in Taki at the start of the second half, and then Bobby comes in shortly after that, you know, we're putting in players up there that can hold on to the ball, that can get involved in the game, and that can use it. Whereas Shrewsbury, they had it easy really with Waldman. He just couldn't.
He just looks like a finisher.
Yeah. He couldn't impact the game at all. Do you know what I mean? So they had it easier, and then you could see the difference, I think, in the second half. You know, Taki, I think we all like Taki. I like Taki. I'd love him to score more goals. I'd love him to be a good squad option. I think he is a decent squad option. But when he came on, you could see he was that bit more nous. that bit more street smarts than the kid had, and that meant Shrewsbury couldn't really get their foot in the game at all, and resorted to a few bad tackles. In fairness, I felt they were a bit snidey in the game.
There was the one on Robbo was
That was
that was
disgraceful.
bad.
Look, the kid who came on, he was the kid, Gav, that I texted you about at the start of the game. There's a real tragic backstory with him. There was a bad accident in Buncrana in Donegal a few years ago where a car with a family inside slid off the pier, and the family that were in the car died. There was 5 members of his family were in the car.
Oh, Jesus.
Josh Daniels.
Yeah. And he was the one.
Was this the one where the mother survived?
I think so.
Yeah.
And it was his family, and he came on today. It would have been he doesn't make that many appearances off. He comes off the bench for Shrewsbury. He's only made a few appearances, so this would have been all his dreams come true. And I think he just had a rush of blood. Thought he could get to Robbo. Robbo just took the ball off him, and he went in. And in fairness, if he saw red, there wouldn't have been an argument for it. But I'm glad the ref just had a talk with him, and it looks like Robbo came off with a bit of a limp, but he looked like he was okay because he put out a tweet later on in the day. He actually tweeted one of the wingers that played for Shrewsbury today that Robbo played against him 7 or 8 years ago, and he said it was as hard a game then as it was today. So it's not a case like these kids ever forget. The mental notes on the players that give them grief and give them trouble. So it was nice to see some of the post-match stuff as well with the players.
Yeah.
Van Dijk, Steve Cottrell coming out talking about Van Dijk going into their dressing room. But I was happy. I was really happy for that kid to be able to come on at Anfield today, especially with that tragic background.
I think if I remember rightly, I think 4 or 5 people die in that, and I think the mother survives. And
Barry Devaney said a kid survived.
Yeah, it's a horrific story. But to see a young lad come out of that, I don't know if he was involved in the accident or he might have not been there at the time, but to see a kid come out of that and make his way in life, and
fair play to him.
Oh yeah, and you know what? To play at Anfield, I don't know who he supports, but to play at Anfield for Shrewsbury today must have been huge for him. So, fair play to him on that.
Yeah.
Bobby gets the back heel because that's what he does. But in fairness, Bradley does well. Fabinho sets him in. He gets it back. It looks for Kanate. I think Shrewsbury player gets a touch to it, and he back heels it in. And that's the game. Then that's 3-1, and Liverpool are really, really playing it out. But Fabinho isn't finished. Keith, he's not having any of it.
Was he supposed to be?
No, he's not like 93 minutes, and he's not having a bar of this. He wants another one. And I said earlier, I don't know whether he's trying to hit the Shrewsbury fans with this, or he's trying to hit the goal. If he's trying to hit the Shrewsbury fans, it's poor. If he's trying to hit the goal, fair play to him. But it's nice to see him get 2, isn't it? And to be that far forward.
Yeah, to be in the mix out there. He's a good finisher. He's a good striker of the ball, Fabinho. You know, we've seen that in goals that he scored. He can hit it. I think they would have got a penalty if, maybe not at that time. He might have just blown it up. But I think it's a handball on the first header, and then he just reacts, smashes it in top corner. I love them finishes. Do you know what I mean? It's all well and good, a nice technical, little clip or a long range drive, but them ones when you're like 3 yards out and smashing into the top of the roof of the net, they're always good. But Fabinho's a player who I think maybe should score. Well, no, it's harsh, you play that position for us. We get enough goals. We don't really need our number 6 to be chipping in with his fair share. But when you can hit a ball as clean as he does, it's good to see him getting on the scoreboard, and to see him getting a juice today was nice. Fabinho, thought he was excellent today. With the young lads beside him, I thought he played really well. And as you say, we don't usually see him in the box on them. It was a good delivery by Tsimikas. Tsimikas hits it in, isn't it? Yeah,
Tsimikas his first touch.
First touch comes on, whips it in. Great delivery. Does he get a glance onto the header for being? I think he does. I think it's a little skinner, and it hits him, and it just drops then. Drops as perfect as it can, and he reacts, and everyone else is putting hands up for a handball, and he just goes in and smacks it. So yeah, delighted with that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading back on tragedy, and I just wanted to make sure I had it right. It's horrendous, but I don't think that lad was involved in the accident, but it was definitely his family that was involved in it. But
we're not leaving this game without talking about the shithead fans.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
no.
going on to it next.
No,
I'm going
we're
on to it next. But look, that's 4-1. It's most definitely game over. It puts a more, fair reflection on the way the game went, in my opinion. Although Shrewsbury worked hard, Liverpool had loads of the ball and were little bits away from really opening them up and making big chances. But a few people in the chat tonight have mentioned the Shrewsbury fans, and their own goalkeeper comes out, or their own sub goalkeeper comes out, because a video comes out. I don't know whether it is their fans before the game, but I don't know when it comes out, so people might be able to tell me. But basically, they're in Liverpool and they're shouting about the Hillsborough victims, and they're not shouting nice things. I'm not going to repeat what they're shouting.
They never do, Gav. They never do.
But I have to give a big shout out to the Shrewsbury sub goalkeeper that tweeted and said Liverpool showed nothing but respect today to us, and these people that were singing this should be ashamed of themselves, should be arrested and identified and banned for life from Shrewsbury ground. I don't know what the ground is called. It used to be Gay Meadow. I don't know what it's called now. But
Hardy Burgoyne is the name of the keeper. Fair folks done. Fair play.
He's not backward about coming forward on this, Shawnee, the goalkeeper. And you've seen a pattern in the game as well, Shawnee. I'd say they spent 80-90% of their time singing about Liverpool and singing about different things rather than backing their own side. But when you see what they're singing on the streets in Liverpool before a game, I'd be interested to see exactly where they were singing it, because I'd love them to go up near Anfield and sing that and see how far they get. But Shawnee, this is just fucking never ending, And no matter how much evidence is put out there, no matter how much.
Well, as long as you're not singing about Chelsea's, what we think of the Chelsea fans, or as long as you're not getting Carabao Cup semi-finals rearranged.
Yeah,
everything else is free. They give Liverpool fans a fucking victim complex. Well, it's almost like it exists. You know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous, and I'm sick of it, Gav. To be honest with you, it's ridiculous at this stage. Like, the one thing I will say, and I'm delighted that we don't get many of them shy-hawk lower league clubs and their fans in the. Well, it's unfair to label the whole to tie them all with the one brush, but that's lower league behaviour. That's Vanarama behaviour. This shift bastard when the goalkeeper's kicking the ball out and all. It's absolute oafism. It's one thing I'd never understand is turning up the football with this mentality and a jolly boys out. And look, you're in the third round of the FA Cup away to Liverpool. If you can't enjoy that day without making a dickhead out of yourself, then I really do feel sorry for you, because you're completely misconstruing what the game is about. The magic of the cup, me bollocks, it should be stamped out, and the FA should do something about it, because not only last week did you have feed the Scousers and this, that and the other, where all the problems that we have going on in societal issues these days. Football is supposed to be bringing us together, but sometimes it just does more to cause a divide, and we wonder why the Scousers and Liverpool fans have this complex, is because they fucking get it from all angles. And that's just the truth. And nothing is ever done about it, but we're not allowed to say anything. And you know what? In a time when that documentary went out over the last couple of weeks, and I watched it with my girlfriend, who was. She watched Liverpool with me, but when I seen how it affected her, that should affect anybody with a heart.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you should carry that going in, and always remember that there's more to football than going on like that. And it's just, it's sad in a way, but it's a load of bollocks. And it's the same yesterday with the fucking the shower at Millwall. On the knee, like
Scumbags.
Football is supposed to bring out the best in us, but sometimes it does the exact opposite, and
Football
it's
is a reflection of society. And
yeah,
listen, I left England in 2010. I'd spent 23 years living there. And when I left in 2010, food banks were a rarity. There are more food banks now in the UK than there are McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's a sad indictment of the society that the country that has allowed that to be normalised. And as football fans, you see it on the terraces. You hear it week in, week out. And it was said to Gary Lineker during the other week when it was being
Yeah.
sung by the Leicester fans, and Gary Lineker with a huge 7.8 million people platform on Twitter. I didn't hear it. I was in the studio. We didn't. It didn't come
Yeah.
through on the feed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that came through on everyone's television.
Every
Yes.
game you hear it loud and clear.
Can
Like
I
it's
Can I just caveat something real quick? That seeing Hannah alone in the chat there saying, "Boy, look, Hannah, I am not for one condoning homophobic or any xenophobic, homophobic. I don't care what your ethnicity is, what your sexual preference is. That's none of that is right. Two wrongs don't make a right. But what doesn't make fucking sense to me is that why Liverpool fans are only the ones that are ever punished? Why does it only come up when it's about us?
yeah.
Same the other during the week when we had to get a game cancelled. It was all about what we fucking did. It was not. It's only us.
Yeah, but
And
Johnny, you
we-
see, Liverpool will hold their own fans to a higher standard. Anyway,
I get that, Gav,
Do you know
but
what I'm
that but that doesn't mean they should just fucking lie down and take it.
no, they
when
should
the
not. They
fans
should not
come
lie
to-
down and take it. Absolutely not. But what Liverpool fans will tell you if it's right or wrong because they're very knowledgeable and they're very honest and they're very, they won't be swayed by saying something that might become. They won't say it for the popular masses, if you know what I mean.
I'll tell you what, Gav, football is supposed to be seen as a working class game, and if you think singing about poverty
Yeah.
is the right thing to be doing at a working class game, it will show you just how fucking far out of touch these people are. Because we're living in a world where working class people, there's nurses
Can't afford to go
working
to
in the
football, man.
NHS who are doing 50, 60 hours a week,
Yeah.
and they have to fucking turn to food banks.
Yeah, well,
We're getting into politics now, which we won't, but it's not right. Like,
no, it's not right. But what I would
None of
say
it
is
right. But we're always the one that I won't say we. I'd say Liverpool and Scousers are always the one who get leveled at as they fucking do this. They're always the victims. This, that, and the other. They're still pissing on the graves of 97 people who unlawfully lost their lives by singing and chanting songs every other week.
yeah,
Having a
and
go
you
at
know,
these.
and
So,
you know,
like,
and you know why? Do you know why they when Liverpool are involved in any way, they're held. There's a big furore over Liverpool because they know Liverpool fans hold themselves to a higher standard. That's the funny thing. We'll do what we want, but we're going to hold you to a much higher standard than anybody else. Because why? Because you demand a higher standard, and that's how fucking simple it is. Like with regards to food banks, right? Feed the Scousers comes from all poorest areas in Liverpool, poorest areas in England and stuff like that. I don't know where Liverpool is in the poorest area in England, but I wouldn't say it's top, right? It's a brilliant city. It has, there's so much going for it. There is poor areas in it. There's good areas in it. It's like anywhere else. Right? But you see, you have to remember, Liverpool got this reputation because during the Thatcher regime, as I call it, right? They wanted to manage the decline of the city. Right, they wanted to manage the decline of the city, and what happened is exactly that. Right, it only started coming around again in the I think it might be in the late 90s when they were announced as the City of Culture for, I think it was 2008, if I'm right. And you're seeing a lot of money going into Liverpool and stuff like that. But you go there now, it's a brilliant place, right? With regards to the chance that we're done today, I don't know how much people need to be shown and how much they need to be proven and proof to be shown to them. Actual decisions and verdicts have to be shown to people before they realise that Liverpool fans went to a football game in 1989, to a football game, right? And because it was mismanaged by the people that were meant to be in charge, actually by people that were in charge that shouldn't have been, I'll go that far as saying, they lost their lives, okay? And it's gone through 30 years right? We're 30, would it be 33 years now this year, right? And still you have people. I've seen it on Twitter in the last 24 hours. People,
I've seen it there in the
still
chat.
making
Welsh
claims.
lad in the chat there. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, mate, if it's a joke to you, that's well and good. Consider yourself lucky that you've seen that as a joke, because you don't know what fucking people are going through showing up at games. So, as far as I'm concerned, people like you are part of the problem, and you probably need to be sitting down to be educated, but you're probably ignorant anyway to have that done anyway. So
I haven't seen this
if you
comment,
think
so
those things are a fucking joke, it's only because you haven't lived through it. And I've been very lucky with my upbringing. I'm happy to say I've never had to deal with anything like that, but that doesn't mean I'm not mindful of people who have, and that's where education comes into it. So if it's just a joke to you, that's fair enough.
Who was this a joke to? Because I haven't seen this comment.
The Welsh lad or something it was called. He said it's the man up if you can't take a bit of banter or something along those lines.
He must be a big man himself.
Yeah.
The thing is, when it comes to the stuff over Hillsborough, people were led by the media, right, into what to believe, okay, and we know this, and we know it was covered up, and we know they were pushed down this road to believe X, Y, and Z. It took a long time for the truth to actually come out. It has come out, and still people, it'd be like me believing something for ages and ages, and then going, "Are you fucking mad? No, that's not it." And then you go, "Oh, that's what happened, is it? Or that's this," and then, "Oh, well, I'm still going to believe what I believe for ages anyway." With regards to food banks,
Leicester fans, it's my opinion.
What?
They hide behind, it's my opinion. I am entitled to believe.
Well, you see, the thing is, you're not entitled to an opinion.
No, it's bollocks. I agree 100%.
I don't have an opinion on Hillsborough because I wasn't there. All right, and I didn't have first-hand thing on it. The only opinion I would have on Hillsborough is that I've watched and listened and read a serious amount of stuff on it, and the biggest thing I've read or watched or listened to is the information that has come across in the last 7 or 8 years, when all evidence was presented to an independent panel, and you had the government in the UK, David Cameron and others, making double apologies over it. Okay, and my opinion of it now is that what has come out is now 100% the truth. That's it. I don't have any other opinion on it. That's it. But with regards to food banks, Leicester fans sang about this. Okay, Leicester fans sang about this. And the following week, a Liverpool fan was outside a food bank in Leicester donating money or donating food, okay? These food banks aren't exclusively in Liverpool. If you go and check out the food banks that help out at Liverpool, they'll be at the corner of the Cop and the Centenary stand or the Kenny Dalglish stand every single game. If you go and ask them who they work alongside, they're all different cities. All different cities they are involved with, they're tied in with, and they help out. So for anybody to think that Feed the Scousers is something that's funny, because you laugh at people that might need food or some sort of help and just decide that it's Liverpool and it's funny, have a fucking word with yourself. But if you think it's exclusive to Liverpool and that's what the song is sang, listen, I don't even think education will help you. I genuinely believe that, because if you go onto their website or check out their social media, you will see that all these fan supporting food banks initiatives are based all over England. And as you say, Kev, there's more food banks in England than McDonald's. Listen, if you think you can just turn up in one ground, in one league in one country and sing a song like that because you think it's exclusive to that city or that area,
but that's the nail on the head. It doesn't get sung anywhere else. It doesn't get sung anywhere else. Only at Liverpool Football Club, and Everton fans don't get it. They get some, but they don't get what we get, and it's disgusting. Do you know what I mean? Like, Welsh lad can say, it's just, don't be offended by that. It's not banter. It's not football banter. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of whataboutery as well over the last few days about, Liverpool fans mock Munich. I don't, see Munich chants or anything like that, and I'm sure it happens. But I'm sure if it does happen, people get pulled up on it. What happens with Liverpool is, this fella, what's his name? Harry Bourgoin. He's a goalkeeper on Shrewsbury. He's not, their first choice keeper. He's 26 years old. He's not at the end of his career. He called out his own fans today for what they done for their behaviour.
Fair play.
Would you? And fair play to this fella. Would you go and mock somebody about a dead relative in the real world? Like, would you go up to somebody who was at an anniversary for a dead relative and laugh and sing about it? No, you wouldn't. So why is it okay to sing and laugh and joke about 97 people who died in a tragedy that wasn't caused by Liverpool fans? It's been proved it wasn't caused by Liverpool fans. So why should that be a joke? Why should that be funny? Why should that be mocked? People who do that are subhuman scumbags. There's no other way around that. So if you mock Hillsborough, you mock Munich, or you mock Ibrox, or you mock Bradford, or you mock any other thing where people died, you're the scum of the earth. And using Heysel as well as a weapon makes you the scum of the earth. Do you know what I mean? You don't mock these things. These are tragedies. People died. Family members had to deal with this thing. And I seen on Twitter the last few days, family members getting targeted by scumbags that claimed they were at Hillsborough and it was Liverpool fans' fault. It's disgusting what happens. It's absolutely stomach-turning. But where's all the other big names that don't call this out, Gav? Where's all the other big names that don't call it out? This fella here has a blue tick or whatever, Harry Bourgoin. Where's the other bleeding mouthpieces that call everything else out? That have not once called out the singing of Hillsborough songs, the singing of poverty.
Yeah,
none of them.
But it's not being walked off like I think this or I think that. This is the facts. Like Avo the Third is a long time listener and viewer of this channel, and he says, I was in the Leppings Lane end of Hillsborough, Gav, and I know exactly what happened. I've stopped going to football because of crowds and scum fans. Okay? He knows exactly what's happened. Okay? And he has an opinion on it because he was at it. Right?
Yeah.
He probably gave evidence with regards to what went on. But we sit here 30 years after the event, right?
The fact we're still fucking doing this.
Exactly. The fact that we're still talking about this is the worst thing of it's not the worst thing. What happened is the worst thing, but it's an appalling situation where we are still talking about this, still trying to defend Liverpool fans and still trying to put the word or the thing straight on this. And that's that's an awful thing for anybody. And you're right, Keith. You know, like if someone come up to me and I was an anniversary of a family member that had died and went on like that, you'd have to pull them off me. You know what I mean? Or pull me off them. Yeah. Sorry.
You wouldn't, Gav, because these are like, it's the hive mentality of these muppets in their droves. These are the same collect that go to the World Cup in Russia and the Euros in France and get battered by Russian and Polish hooligans because they're fucking idiots. That's what it is. Yeah. And this is the hive mind mentality of, and I'd like to say not all England fans, but just some of them on a jolly. That's all it is. These lads on their big day out. We see it every summer, and it's always, why is it always the England fans? I've been with Liverpool fans away. I've been Champions League final in Madrid, and the Spurs fans, and how cordial it all was, and it was great. And there was none of these yobs around looking to start fights. I've been in the away ends with Liverpool. I was in the away end at Etihad with Liverpool, and it's nothing but just good vibes and supporting your team. None of this shy of mocking the dead or taking the piss out of those less fortunate. And look, this is just the mentality of these yobs that fucking probably have way too many cans of Carlin and probably sit up the night before the game watching Green Street on DVD, going out looking for fucking fights at football games. Like a lot of people are saying, it's a society issue, and it will continue to be a society issue because, unfortunately, we cannot educate fucking Amadons. And Amadons and orange are for people who are brain dead. And we're wasting our time. And I'm sorry I even bit on that Welsh lad's comment because that's probably exactly what he was looking for, and that's my bad.
Yeah, well,
we've seen the Sun newspaper being banned from Anfield and stuff like that. I wonder how far it goes where Liverpool FC start producing recordings of the away end and showing the police and the FA and the Premier League going, listen, this has gone on from X club and we are now going to put something forward where they have no fans at Anfield next season. And we continue to do this until it stops. And I'm wondering how far it gets because, like Red Steve says, we shouldn't have to talk about it 30 years on, but the problem is we do. We should be talking about it in the sense, Red Steve, that you've seen stuff like the Hillsborough law that they want to bring out. You want to remember the victims. And and you want to remember the families that have what they've gone through and what they fought for 30 years. That's what you should be talking about. How these people were done some of the most courageous things you've ever seen. You know, that drama that was on just the past week is about Anne Williams, and what she went through, but even by watching that is unbelievable. But she didn't go through that alone. There's so many people out there that are in the same situation, that went through probably the same, I'm not saying the same or worse than her, but in a very similar situation. And if you multiply that by, you could be talking hundreds of people, thousands of people that went through the same situation as she did. If you take the verdicts and actually go and look at the outcome, go and read Hillsborough the Truth by Phil Scranton. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like,
read his books.
Go and read
watch his documentary. Watch his documentary.
Go read the book. Trust me, I've read the book, and it's absolutely. There's an updated version of it now. It's absolutely unbelievable to read, and we should be admiring these people. We should be admiring these people, and the relatives that went to a game and didn't come home. That's what we should be doing. But instead, we're sitting here and we're having to defend ourselves against fucking idiots. And it should stop. It should absolutely stop. But when you have social media that allows people to come on anonymously and say things like I've seen on Twitter over the last couple of days to, in particular, a girl whose father, I think, died at Hillsborough, and her having to entertain this and her having to justify herself, I find it absolutely appalling. But look, we've got into that, and I just thought we'd talk about it. What went on with the Shrewsbury fans in Liverpool today? It wasn't all of them, because there was thousands of them at the game, and there was a few of them that was seen doing this.
And in fairness, Gav, I did see a Shrewsbury podcast and a fanzine chatting under the comments from the goalkeeper, and they absolutely lashed him out. It said he didn't see any of this, but they totally, not all fans are the same. Not all fans are like that. Most fans are decent human beings. But as Shawnee said, mob rules, and when you get into these little mobs and they're all dressed in black and they're all just out there to have a little laugh and get on the Hoover and have the drink, they all start acting the shithead, and that's what it is. And I don't give a bollocks if there's 10,000 of them there. If 20 little toe rags are seen doing that, that's the whole fan base tarnished. Yeah. And that's the whole city tarnished.
Then they can start policing themselves, then they're just going to get labelled. At least this, with the Shrewsbury players calling it out, hopefully in the future you'll see more of it. And I think the more noise that Liverpool fans make, and Liverpool fan channels make, might push the club towards, like you said, take the audio, take it to the police, take it to the FA and the Premier League and say, look, we're not going to supply tickets to these people if this carries on. Yeah. Leave the clubs, leave it in the opposing club's hands.
Kev, I'm not even talking
about the technology that you have now, right? So every ticket is paperless now. You have 4K cameras around the whole stadium, and you could section out exactly what seat they're sitting in, and you could report back to that club to say who was ticket such and such distributed to the person sitting in this seat for the away end, and you could stamp it out. And it's the same with racism. It's the same with everything across the board. We're banging the drum. Like I do feel that until there's an across the board education of these idiots, there's nothing we can do, because like we're going on about, like, I remember growing up in school, I wasn't alive when Hillsborough happened. It was 89, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I wasn't even thought of. I went to school with lads who were the same age as me, who would turn around and say like stuff like murderers to me, and when I was in school in Dublin, Ireland, and they weren't even born. So where did they inherit that from?
Exactly.
It's indoctrinated. You're taught to hate. Like nobody, nobody's born with that hate in them. Nobody has that hate in them. You're taught to hate. You can only learn that. Nobody is naturally hateful towards any section. I fucking hate Manchester United. I hate them with a passion, but I respect them, and I'd never mock the dead. And the Munich disaster is a terrible tragedy, and it should never be mocked by anybody. Same with Heysel, same with all of these, but that's just the war we live in, unfortunately. Products of our environment, unfortunately.
Well, look, it's something that will probably have to be looked at again, but I think it was Red Steve said it. Yeah, he did. It's still on the screen there. I have to talk about it. It's ridiculous, but trust me, if you're a football fan or just a person in general, when it comes to the 97 victims of Hillsborough, their families, their friends, the survivors that went and come back, if you don't have the utmost respect for them and the utmost sympathy for them, because of what they've lost and what they've gone through, there's something wrong with you. I say that without any worries. There's something wrong with you, because they should have your utmost respect and your utmost sympathy for what they've gone through and what they've lost and what they fought for. And with regards to food banks, get off the internet and stop being a fucking idiot. And you know what? Instead of paying X amount on your phone every month, take a $5 off the amount of data you're allowed, because you shouldn't be using it, and give it to a food bank. Genuinely, because there's people out there, and it could be any of us tomorrow. It could be like I speak for myself. I'm in a fortunate position where I have a good life. I have wife, kids, cars, whatever it might be. But tomorrow could all change like that, and I could be the one going down and saying, "Listen, I've no food. I can't feed me kids, whatever it might be," and there's no shame in it. And people shouldn't be shamed for that. This is a result of what's going on in the wider world and the governments that run things and stuff like that. And you shouldn't look down on these people. You shouldn't mock them. You should be saying, "Do you know what? Jesus, I'm gonna drop a tenner in there. I'm gonna drop cans of food, whatever it might be, to help somebody out." You should always help your fellow man. Yeah. That's the way it is. But I just have no time for when it comes to the Hillsborough stuff, and I have no time for people when it comes to food banks, because
you know what,
making out that it affects one area is what really fucking annoys me. Really annoys me.
Sorry for jumping in there, Gav, but I'm hoping to go to the Brentford game next week, and I'm bringing my son. It's his first time going to a game. Yeah. And I'm going to go out my way to get a bag of stuff and bring it to the food bank at the game. And that's not for me to, make me feel better or anything. It's to explain to him that, not everybody is lucky. Not everybody is in the same position. Privilege. And yeah, exactly. We take things for granted, like food, fucking food. Do you know what I mean? And we take that for granted. And I'm going to make sure that I have a bag, and I'm going to explain to him. He's 7 years old. And I'm going to explain to him why I'm doing that and the importance of doing that. Because someone said earlier about the Hillsborough stuff, not learned behaviour. Do you know what I mean? If you teach your people, you teach your kids that you look after each other, you don't fucking mock people, you don't laugh at the dead, you don't laugh at the poor, the less well off. I mean, it's to even say it is crazy. To even say it out loud is fucking disgusting. But that's the society we're in today. And I'm going to be doing that for my son, just to let him know, listen, we're lucky. We have food. We have heat. We have a roof over our head. Not everyone has that. And I'll be making sure that.
I just can't get my head around it. I genuinely can't. How and you know what it is? Even if you internally feel that, even if you feel that internally, right? What would make you go out, meet up with your mates, and the highlight of you and your mates' day is going to be go into some arena to shout about people not having food or people that have died? It's
supposed to be an escape from reality.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what the funny thing is, Shawnee? What they're shouting is a fucking escape from reality, because they're not in reality. Yeah. That's the truth. Listen, we spent an awful lot of time on that, but
can we have a bit of crack now and talk about the AFCON?
Yeah, well, listen, I was going to talk about Trent. I was going to talk about Trent testing positive for COVID.
Nah, it doesn't matter. COVID me bollocks.
Yeah, and Klopp has said positives. There was a load of dodgy antigen tests knocking around the Access Centre last week, but they've sorted it now. Arsenal are going fucking rash. Our big shower of crybars they are, right? We've got Cardiff at home in the fourth round of the FA Cup. And we've Arsenal up on Thursday, but look, we'll be doing shows during the week on that. But anyway, let's get on to this. Shawnee, the AFCON, we'll all have a little word on this before we go. We'll go for another 10 minutes or so, right? But the AFCON is, we're 2 games in, is probably my favourite football tournament of all time.
Don't get me twisted now. I'm not laughing at it.
No, I think it's brilliant.
To be honest with you, I think Ian Roy spoke really glowingly about the AFCON Cup. Like, this is huge for those players. Like, it's huge for them. It's a big, and when you're seeing today, like, there's a lot going on in Cameroon at the moment, and
yes,
you only have to look back to South Africa. Yeah. This is what I mean by escapism. And you look at that opening ceremony today, and I was buzzing watching it going, this is fucking great. And then the match kicked off, and I might as well have been watching a huge tournament in the middle of May or June. It was mental. It's just mad. It's just it's like a game of basketball. Honestly, like the fourth goal today, if you haven't seen it in the Cameroon game, you need to Burkina Faso. Like yesterday, you had Burkina Faso coming out saying, hold on, they're saying that all of our best players are at the testing positive. We're not having this. This is witchcraft. They were playing the host nation. It's brilliant.
What happened with them players, by the way?
They didn't play.
Right, okay.
They were all
Bertrand
deemed.
Traore played, didn't he? But
Yeah,
Edmund
so you
tops
need-
over it.
It's football in its purest form, and you can tell that these fellas are playing their hearts and souls out for their countries, and they're just giving 100%.
Absolute hatchet men in the tackle.
Now don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna lie. The standard is not great, but the goalkeeper
But it's
today,
definitely something you can relate to.
Yeah,
100%. And the goalkeeper today, and without, for want of a better term, the only way I could describe him is like a Jack Russell with two Mickeys. He was all over the place. There's about 6 crosses going into the box, and he's taking the head off his own centre half, going for the ball. And then your man finishes it at the back post, and he's not even aware of what's going on. And then all his mates reeling off, celebrating with him, dancing. It's brilliant. And you know what? It's a break from me now. If there's a clash during the week between a Premier League game and an AFCON game, I know what game I'm going to be watching.
It's not Liverpool.
There's a freedom to it, isn't there? There's a freedom to how they play. It's just like when I watch this tournament, I kind of think they're having a good time in it. Now, there's definite pressures on them. There's definitely, you need to do this, you need to that. The expectation is there, but there's a freedom in so many of these teams when they're playing.
There's some good players.
Like that
in this
first goal for
tournament
Burkina Faso today, Shawnee sent me a link, and I must have watched it 10 times. Headed off the line, cross back in. The keeper nearly pulls the crossbar down. He hits it that fucking hard, right? And then it comes back in. A fella falls on the ground. Another fella knocks in the top corner. It's just all happening. I was like, this is fucking deadly. And then Ethiopia were playing. Cape Verde. And it was who said?
And actually, shout out to Roberto Lopez from Crumlin, playing for Cape Verde today.
We're all getting behind the Cape Verde lads now. With Irish,
we're all Cape Verde here.
We're all Cape Verde. Absolutely, we're all Cape Verde. But the Ethiopian goalkeeper had a Joma jersey on, and the rest of the boys had Umbro on.
Yeah, Ethiopia had Umbro jerseys on. The keeper didn't have. That's magic, though.
Yeah,
for me.
That's a brilliant quick question.
Well,
like it's just it's great. Like, and you know what? We were all going, "Oh, this AFCON is a pain in the bollocks," but like I was saying, this means so much.
Yeah. Tell that to the African lads.
And
we think our tournament's a load of shy.
The culture in Africa, you can tell every single one of those countries will be engrossed in that for the next 4 weeks, and I hope it brings them some sort of joy because. In the world we're living in at the moment, that's exactly what I'm going to be focusing on. I'm actually looking up. I can't wait now for the next game because it's just mental.
I think Tuesday is going to. There's a cracker on Tuesday. Nigeria and Egypt.
And who are favourites currently for the tournament?
Senegal.
Senegal.
Someone says they're down to 17 players.
Yeah.
Well, they went in as favourites. Where they stand at the moment.
The thing is, me and Chris were chatting about this Friday night. Of all the countries that are in it, I think out of all of the groups, I think 3 of them qualify for the knockout stages. Most of the countries with top-end players will be into the latter stages. Senegal will be fine. By the time those players are cleared to come back, they'll probably still be favourites. Algeria will be second favourites. Morocco. You were shouting about Keith with the likes of Hakimi and Saiss. They'll be tough to beat. They've had 9 clean sheets in their last 10 games.
Yeah.
Algeria are unbeaten in their last 34 in Africa.
Nigeria's team, the players that they have now, whether that translates to a team.
Nigeria
some really good players in there.
Yeah. Nigeria to me are like the Netherlands. They've got great players, but that squad will definitely splinter into 3 or 4 groups. By the time, living together and everything, they'll just go off on each other, and he's not speaking to him and he's not speaking to that for them, and they'll just fall away. But Senegal look a proper outfit with Koulibaly and Mane and
Mendy.
yeah, Edouard Mendy. Even Onana today playing for Cameroon. You know, he's been out. He's done something really dodgy, and he hasn't played for Ajax for a year. He was on the move to the Premier League. Chelsea were strongly looking at him before they went for Mendy.
Well,
This
Senegal
fella
are down
looks
to
like he
7
wants to
players.
play football
Koulibaly and
ever
Mendy
again
have both
earlier on.
tested positive. Koulibaly and Mendy have tested positive. Apparently now, someone else was saying there that the rules are if you have 11 players, you play. Goalkeepers can play out, and outfield players can play in. So
Honestly,
It's all about the mighty dollar.
they're not.
It's
They're
going
not
to be
fucking
last.
about.
They
It's
will
going to be
get their
last man
games
back
paid.
for the
Yeah.
quarterfinals.
We joke, but it will. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, it will be allowed to go to that. But the thing about the Ethiopia Cape Verde game today, 12 minutes in, red card.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh,
There'll be
and
loads
there's
of red
no
cards. in
holding
this
The
back.
game.
referees are absolutely shocking, Mike.
And I'll
Yeah.
tell you
They're
one
holding
thing,
back.
Kev, do you know what I love about it? They don't bother complaining. The players,
No.
it's just like he's the man. He
fair
tells you you're off, you're off. They don't
Yeah.
bother.
But the best of it is they got VAR as well. So, I mean, the referees are shocking. And then you've got the guy on the VAR telling the referee what he should and shouldn't do. It's a recipe for disaster. I fucking love it. I can't wait.
Well, look, it's definitely a tournament that
I tell you,
you know,
there's some proper players in this, Mike.
there is proper players, but
There's
when you
some
mix that in
serious
with
talent coming through as well.
when you mix that in with fanatical fans, like I mean fanatical, like that, they're non-stop noise, right?
I wish they'd lose the fucking Vuvuzelas.
Yeah, I know. It's a pain in the hole. But when you mix that in,
goal.
the pitches aren't the best. The referees probably aren't the best, and then sometimes it's just a free for all. It's when you see a Euros or a World Cup, probably a Euros more, and it's like everything is immaculate. Everything is the players. Everything's set up for
Yeah.
everything is set up for real cultured football, and it's the technicians and tactics. Whereas in the African nations, it's a bit more of this is proper football. You know, everything isn't perfect, and they're just going for it. And like as Keith said, they're lashing in tackles on 12 minutes as if they're 1-0 down with fucking in the last minute, they're chasing last man back. They live the moment when they're playing. It's absolutely brilliant.
But it's mad. It's mad. Like, some of the things, you are touched on there, Gav, was, England go to the World Cup or the Euros and they're picking this fucking mountain resort where they can train and base themselves. And then you see the stuff coming out like, who was it, Burkina Faso or something, got a witch doctor to put a fucking spell on Mane or something so he break his leg or something in the next match. And then you had Naby Keita with Guinea. The president has pulled all the squad together and told them if they don't win the tournament, they all have to pay back the money that they put into sending them there. It's fucking madness. Like, this is absolutely haywire.
I love
this
it.
tournament.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Garmax
And the
is
best
Gav.
of it is it's all on BBC as well. There's
it's all
loads
on
of games
BBC
on
and Sky,
BBC and Sky and everything. So there's no excuse. There's shed loads of football on now for the
And it's
next
a
few
welcome
weeks.
break from all this
It is a welcome break.
being
It is a
fed.
welcome break.
And
LFC said, did you see that if you have 11 players, an outfield player has to go and goal? Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have 11 and 2 of them are goalkeepers, one of them goalkeepers has to play out. They're just playing the games. They don't give a fuck. Garmax says, Gav, can you give some Liverpool ladies some love? 6-0 win away at Blackburn today, and a 6-minute hat-trick from Ireland's Leanne Kiernan.
As
Yeah,
Chris
it's not,
Brack
didn't
put in.
Yeah, but Gary Max says that, so it must be Chris Brack's borner.
Chris Brack put it in that, Leanne Kiernan got 3, but all the goals were scored by Irish girls today. Now,
Really?
what's her name? Rachel Furness is it? She's Northern Irish, and Nia Fahy. They all Irish scorers, which is great.
See, there you go. I think that's about it. The rest of the week, tomorrow's Monday. We will have a forum. I'll be on at 2:00 every day this week before anyone asks. Monday
It's
to Friday,
going well,
6
isn't it?
p.m. Yeah, I'm loving it. There's loads of regulars come in at 2:00. We're talking about transfers that definitely won't happen, but we like talking about players. And we're talking about any of the news out of Liverpool. And there's loads of people. Joining in on that. So 2:00 every day, Monday to Friday. Check that out. That's the cop update. The forum should be back tomorrow night. That's Monday night. Don't know if we do it on Tuesday, but if I could squeeze a quiz in because people love it, we might make this as regular as we can. Kev's not playing. Wednesday.
I'm not coming.
Kevin's no internet that night.
No
Yeah.
internet. No, the rest of the
I'm
family
not
have the internet. it's their turn on the internet that night. Wednesday, the midweek fix will definitely preview the Arsenal game. Thursday, we'll be on after the Arsenal game for full-time Reds, and the lads will be back on Friday with Sports Unplugged, and then we go again over the weekend as well. But now go and check it out. I'm having a really nice time at 2 o'clock every day, and like I said, the three lads on screen there throw news at me every morning. I look at those myself, and then the people in the chat bring more stuff. So we've loads to look through in a half an hour, and we're always kept going. Someone wants a Coutinho goal against United tomorrow. Is he registered in time to play?
No, he's coming. No, he came in today for his medical tomorrow. He won't be cleared.
Okay, won't be cleared.
He won't be registered.
Johnny B. Red says I have mass every day at 2. Could you not get to play it over the speakers? No.
Yeah.
Doing a mask. I could do a reading. I could absolutely do a reading. There'd be no problem there. Whatever you want. Bit of Moses.
Gospel of Corn to Arthur Guinness.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Arthur Daly. Whatever one you want. I can find someone that can be Terry in it. But that's it.
Reference for the kids there, Gav. I like that.
One for the kids.
Yeah, Johnny, do you know what that is?
Sorry?
Arthur Daly and Terry. Do you know who Arthur and Terry are?
No.
Nah, boys, is that talking now? My skill now.
What a show. What a show. But look, that has been the Fatback 4. It's been another cracking show. We've kept you just over an hour and a half, which we apologise for.
Standard.
But anything else before we go, Kev?
No. All good. We'll definitely be covering the African nations on Friday. So if you guys in the chat are watching the games, bring it all up with us on Friday and let us know what's going on.
Yeah, cool. A 4-week review would be really good.
Yeah,
Keith, anything else before we go?
No, all good. Good day at the office today, Gav. Did we do a man of the match now?
No, we didn't.
All right, go on, man of the match. Shawnee.
Toilet on.
Good stuff. Keith.
I'm going to give it to Curtis Jones.
Okay. A lot of people thought he was poor. Kev.
Yeah, I said Fabinho earlier and Tyler for the youngsters. So I think I'll stick with that.
Okay. Kaide Gordon for me. I don't know who I said earlier, but I'm going to go with Kaide Gordon. Because that touch and that finish, I loved everything about it. Minder was the name of the show, Shawnee. Go and check it out. You might get it on your
Great theme song as well.
The theme song is outrageous.
Sang by Dennis Wall.
Do you know what? I'd love to use that theme song on this show. If I could get away with the Minder theme tune on this show, I would do it.
Well, if you get rid of the bleeding Lord of the Rings joke you have now, I'm going to be disappointed.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Oh, we keep that. That, of course, was Mohammed Jogee's baby, so we keep that. Fucking we keep it. Shawnee, anything else before we go?
Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to my brother Al, who I think it might be his last day of isolation. He's watching with my little newborn nephew Bradley.
Nice one.
The indoctrination is starting early, so he's listened to his uncle's talk shite before that, and else before he can understand it.
Has Al been out for a point with us?
He has.
Yeah, he was there the night we won the league.
Yeah.
Do we lifted the trophy?
Yeah.
I was definitely talking to him. There's so many of the lessons I don't know which ones are which. But
we all look this. It's mad. I even forget.
We all look like Shawnee. It's fucking amazing. Like you'd be just starstruck. But listen, Al, commiserations because you won't be out for a point ever again. Now that's the end of you.
Yeah, you had a good run.
We have to catch up on plenty of pods overnight.
Staying in during the COVID. So we won't be seeing you again. I'll send a few cans around. You have the surgery and I'll give you an end of it. Right. That is it. What's the baby's name?
Bradley.
Tonight's show is dedicated to Al and Bradley sitting watching
Connor Bradley, man of the match just for that.
Bradley, always remember, kid, 2022 January is the last time you're out for a point. That is it. That has been the Fatback 4. Talk to you in a bit. Loads during the week. Over now.